It's Monday, September 2nd, 2024, and this is episode 317 of You Can Bet on That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. I'm Mark Duvall.
And I'm Dr. Mike.
Well, Dr. Mike, you done any gambling lately? Anything to talk about?
Not in a little bit here. I've been busy getting ready for school starting.
Oh, that's right. You know, I don't know if we ever actually mentioned it on the show. You were not exactly sure what you were going to be doing once the school season started again. You didn't even know if you were going to be at the school anymore. But that's all finalized now, right? What are you going to be doing?
Teaching science.
Okay, still,
again.
yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Biology for 10th graders and, interestingly enough, 7th grade science.
Okay, just kind of a general science class?
Well, it's life science, introduction to life science.
Okay.
But
yeah.
We'll see how that goes with 7th graders.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Good luck to
you. Know, yeah, you know how 7th graders can be. I'm sure I'll learn a few new things that I don't know.
Yeah. But that's coming up here soon?
Starts Tuesday.
Oh, okay. So
After the holiday.
Okay, very good.
Yeah. So, well, if I don't play good in the poker tournaments, because I'm setting up classwork and stuff at the same time.
Yeah,
so.
That's your excuse. Good thing you have
I got a built-in excuse.
Yeah. Well, Sherry and I continue to go out to Sycuan maybe once, twice a week. So I talked about how Hamul gave me all this great free play and other comps and everything, and then it just dropped to nothing, literally nothing.
Yep.
But Sycuan, I've been playing there regularly. My comps have dropped a little bit based on kind of the play, but they're not gone. They're just down a little bit. It's still worth going out there. So I know there's some dealers and floors at Hamul who listen to the show. You got to talk to your marketing department. There's no real reason for me to go back to Hamul until they send me another offer, because Sycuan, I'm getting something from them every week and gift cards and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, and the thing about that is, Mark, is if you were the only place in town, then you're going to still keep going there because you want to place craps.
Mm-hmm.
Right, regardless of whatever. So they could jerk you around on your comps.
Yeah.
Like give you a bunch and then not give you some, but you still go. But they're not the only place in town. There's all those other places, and they want to give you comps. So, go there and get none, or go to Sycuan, which is, not down the street, but it's pretty darn close.
It's maybe 5 minutes further away than Hamul, maybe 10, but yeah.
And you get a bunch of comps.
Yeah. Yep.
And the game is essentially the same, right? Other than Hamul has a little better, higher odds, but it's not like you're taking 20-time odds anyway.
Right. And I'll say this, the Asian restaurant at Sycuan is better. We've tried, both Asian restaurants, the one in Hamul and Sycuan. We like the food at the one at Sycuan better. So another reason.
Yeah, there you go. Yep, food is usually the deciding factor, at least for me anyway.
Yeah, unless you're actually at the craps table. Yeah. Then it's like, I don't want to eat.
Food doesn't matter.
Yeah. It's when you're away from it's when they shut down the table 11:30, right? And there's nothing you can do. All right. Well, we got an email from listener Nate. He said, I'm writing to you today to share some highlights from my recent trip to Las Vegas. Oh, yeah, we'd heard from him before. He said he was going to be staying at Paris. He says, first off, I got to stay in one of Paris's new balcony rooms. The view was amazing, but it was a bit strange that there wasn't any furniture on the balcony. It is a little strange. You'd think there'd be a couple of chairs at least, so you could sit.
How high is the rail?
Well, chain it to the rail or something, right? So that people aren't throwing chairs off.
I meant like somebody standing on a chair and falling over.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
So they don't want that, if they can move it up to the edge and there's just stand on it and wave or something to somebody and then fall over.
Okay. Yeah.
That might be an issue.
You're right. I don't know what the policies are, but anyway, it would be nice if you're out on the balcony, be able to sit out there, have a cigar if you like that kind of thing. Watch the fountains. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, imagine, though, if someone fell and then the news is, the outdoor balconies at
furniture dangerous. Blamed.
Yeah. And nobody would want those balcony rooms, or at least they wouldn't want to stand on chairs and lean over the railing.
All right, he goes on. Check-in at the Horseshoe was a little slow, but I got to avoid the monster lines I saw every day I was there. I can't believe any hospitality business has such a miserable check-in process. And this goes back to what we talked about in the last show. Las Vegas, we're hearing this from multiple properties. Huge lines to check in. Why all of a sudden, especially when a lot of them have implemented online check-in or kiosk check-in? Is it because they've reduced their staff as a result of that? And now there's not enough staff to handle the actual people who need to check in person? Ugh.
Yeah, I would guess that's the reason. The only other thing could be that we keep saying to check with your host and stuff, and they're all in line waiting to check for their hosts, and it's our fault.
I don't think so. No. I'm not going to take the blame for that.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's ridiculous.
Agreed. You said you saw it at Caesars. Yeah.
Oh, at Caesars. I mean, if I had walked in and seen that line and, didn't know that I could go to Diamond check-in or something, I would have been like, what the heck?
Yeah.
I mean, it was huge, Mark. Yeah. And there's no reason for that. I mean, they bus people from the airport now all at once.
So they show up all at once. Oh, yeah, 20 minutes ago, there wasn't a line.
Where are you staying at? Caesars. Oh, you're bus B over there. And they don't send the bus until it's full. Sorry, we're waiting for one more seat to be filled. Looking for a party of one?
Single? Single?
Oh, it's crazy. That's not good customer service. But it doesn't surprise me because look at how many places the cashier is terrible.
I'll tell you, Mike, that's another great thing about Sycuan. The cashier is a dream compared to Hamul. A dream.
Yeah, Hamul is terrible at that. I didn't mention this, but when we stopped at St. Louis on our trip back home, one cashier and about 15 people in line.
Yeah.
And I kept thinking, okay, another person's going to come up, right?
Yeah, there were so it wasn't just one cashier window. It was one person working in a lot of closed windows.
And a lot of closed windows.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, well, there must be somebody in the back, even a supervisor or something, who's going to, come and take a window or something. No, had to sit through the whole thing.
Yeah.
People getting cash advances.
Oh, yeah, that
which take a long time.
Yeah.
And just all kinds of stuff. That's another problem. The customer service. What about the restaurants? I mean, I think too, in some of those, it's lack of employees.
Yeah, and again, it might come down to staffing. I mean, we don't know what the business situation is like, but from a customer standpoint,
is it maybe just the casinos? They realize they're on the outswing. They're going to go out of business in 4 or 5 years. There will be no more casinos in the United States.
No.
So they're trying to save money now.
No. That's not it. All right, Nate goes on. I tried some of the new games that you and the guys at Crap Vegas suggested. I had a blast playing Double Down Madness at New York, New York. Oh, that's good. And I even tried my hand at Mississippi Stud and came out ahead. My friend taught me how to play Pai Gow Poker, which was fun-ish, but probably only interesting for a drink or two. If I hadn't made any side bets, I would have been up a couple of $100 on that game. As it is, I basically broke even, but I had a great time. Okay, good. Glad to hear from somebody who said, if I hadn't made the side bets, I would have won, right? So
as opposed to the...
well, you usually
Why didn't I make the side bet?
I have friends who say, oh, yeah, that's where you make the money in that game. They're always saying that, right? You make that side bet. If you don't make that, you're not going to make any money. Just because every once in a while they do have a big hit. Because, a single big hit in a session can make the difference in your session. Anyway, good to hear that, Nate. The highlight of the trip was my visit to Fontainebleau. I had the best pizza I've ever had at Miami Slice, and the espresso martini at the bar in the center of the casino was also top-notch. I played some blackjack at Fontainebleau and had some of the best dealers I've ever encountered. They were fast, but not too fast, very friendly, fun, and made zero mistakes. Yeah, I'm looking forward to showing you Fontainebleau, Mike, because I really liked it as well.
From what you've described, I know I'm going to like it.
Did you happen to see that tweet that I retweeted? I can't remember who originally sent it, but it was a craps table that they're putting poolside at Fontainebleau.
Yeah, I saw that.
Did you see that? That blue table?
I did. Yep.
I thought that looked great.
Yep. Yeah, it'd be kind of nice to stand outside there in the fall or spring or something.
Yeah, or maybe it's covered. You put it right in the daylight there, Mike. The felt's going to get all faded, so they don't want that.
That's true. It might be covered.
It's probably covered. Yeah,
heated for the winter, cooled for the summer.
Yeah.
I think air conditioning is the best thing ever invented. What do you think?
Yeah, I can't really argue with you there, Mike. When I'm thinking of everything that's been invented in the history of the world, air conditioning is probably number one, certainly top 5.
Yeah, certainly top 5. But think about it. If air conditioning had never been invented.
I don't know how people dealt with it in the olden days. It's just like when we were young. How did we exist without the internet and our own cell phones? It was hell.
It was hell, Mark. That's why we're jaded the way we are.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, air conditioning is a pretty big thing. I'm putting it right up there with the will.
It's blowing on me right now, and I'm loving it.
Air conditioning and heating. I'll go HVAC. Okay.
HVAC. So fire, we're going to put fire maybe in the top 5. Not really an invention, but at least we harnessed it.
Yeah, that's just something we lucked into.
Yeah. All right. Nate goes on. Thanks again for the suggestion on other games to play. I'll definitely be playing Double Down Madness again. Oh, yeah. The creator of Double Down Madness actually contacted us and asked if we wanted to go on a tour through their factory in Las Vegas. I told him we'd be there in November. I don't know if we'll have time to do that, but that'd be kind of fun.
I would love that.
Yeah.
I would love that because just factory tours are amazing.
Oh, I know. See all the other games that they're working on too.
And how they make things and stuff. That kind of stuff fascinates me. And then I can write it off as a science.
You can write it off as science. That's life science.
How things are made. That's what life's about.
Right. All right. Nate says, I'll be heading back to Vegas in December to watch the Atlanta Falcons play the Raiders, and I fully intend to be back at the craps tables by then, lifting my self-imposed embargo. Thanks, Nate. Okay, well, good luck in December, Nate. Yeah, be nice to have you back at the tables.
That email was going well until he said he was going to the Raider game. Does he know there's craps available?
Oh, I see. Well, he said self-imposed embargo, so it's probably been going really rough for him. Yeah. So maybe it's like that's the thing. Once he watches the football game, then he's allowed to play craps again for a while.
Okay. Okay. You see what I'm saying? You can sit through an NFL game when there's craps available. Then
so you know it's waiting for you.
The reason I say all this, everybody, is because Mark always says to me, I say, well, let's go see the Chargers play the Raiders or this or that. You want to sit through a football game? That would be Mark's answer.
2 times.
Craps to be played.
2 times we went to a professional sports game. Once it was minor league baseball, and that was hot. I mean, that was insane. That was back at the Las Vegas Stars.
We were young. That was a stupid mistake.
So, like by the 4th inning, let's get a cab and go downtown. And then the original incarnation of the XFL, right? Yeah. We had a bunch of us went. And by halftime,
first game.
By halftime, it's like, let's go back. We got to gamble.
Yeah. Well, they weren't real exciting games, to be honest.
Well, that's true, too. I mean, the XFL was a little interesting because they had some different rules, right? But
they had some quirky rules. Yeah.
Hey, thanks for everyone who's been clicking through our Amazon link. Remember, whenever you're going to buy something through Amazon, please go to our page first. YouCanBetOnThat.com and click through our Amazon link towards the top of the page. Well, we've got some voicemails. First up is Mark.
Hey, Mike, and excuse me. This is Mark in Florida. I almost said Dr. Mark.
Yep.
Anyway, I just wanted to get with you guys and tell you about my recent trip out to Vegas for the past week. I had a good time out there with my brother. We go every year. I was playing a lot of Mississippi stud at various places around town, and in a moment you'll kind of understand why I don't want to say where this happened, but was playing a nice session of Mississippi stud, nice group of people around the table, friendly dealers, and it was just a $5 table, 5 people at the table, and I was sitting in the middle. So 2 players to my left, 2 players to my right, just minimum bets, $5 ante, and then triple up to 15. I was the only player at the table who was not playing the 3-card bonus, and I typically never do because my enjoyment of the game is its volatility of the way it is. So anyway, there were 2 separate times where I folded after getting my cards and just laid my cards next to my ante bet, and the dealer goes around the table and she does not collect my cards. The hand is played out, And so my anti-bet is still staying out there, and the dealer in the community cards flipped over 3-card flush. So all the trips bet get paid, and she paid my anti-bet as if it were a 3-card bonus bet. And I pulled the chips back in, thinking, what's going on here? And the lady sitting just to my right kind of looks at me, and I look at her, and nobody says anything at the table. And later on, the same thing happened when the dealer had a flush. She had not collected my cards and paid my anti-bet as if it were the bonus bet. So that happened twice. And there were other times when I folded that she did collect the anti-bet and just went on, playing the hand out for the other players. But I thought that was so strange that happened twice and the dealer made a mistake. And I was talking softly to the lady next to me and said, the way that they play this game from the dealer's perspective, it's so mechanical. And she's so used to everybody playing the bonus bet, and I was the only one who was not. So I had a fortunate mistake there. Felt a little bit guilty about that, but I'm kind of the opinion, I think, like you guys, that, mistakes happen, and sometimes they're in your favor, sometimes they're not. So I just let it slide. But wanted to share that with you. I thought that was very unusual. That had never happened to me before, playing many hundreds of hands of Mississippi Stud where I was erroneous.
Okay, you got cut off there. Yeah, in this game, when a player folds, like Mark had done, the dealer should be collecting his anti-bet right away.
Correct.
Instead, she was getting it confused with the trips bet. Now, there are some carnival games where even if you fold your hand, they'll leave your cards out there because your cards could be combined with other cards to make a hand. Like in 3-card poker, there's that 6-card bonus bet where you make a hand using your 3 cards and the dealer's 3 cards, right? But in this case, this bet was only a bet on the community cards. So I don't, a casino will have different policies, but the dealer should be collecting his cards as well, cards and bet. But instead, since she left it out there, she got it confused with the trips. I think this is interesting because I wonder if there were any times where Mark played his hand. This was Mississippi Stud. Maybe he had a good starting hand. He played his hand, and the trips bet won, and everybody else got paid. But he didn't get paid that time because the dealer couldn't confuse his ante for the trips bet because he had made all the additional bets as well. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, this is pretty bad on the dealer's part. And again, when a dealer makes a mistake like this, yeah, we're just like Mark said, we kind of said, hey, it's their responsibility to catch this themselves, or a floor catch it, or the eye in the sky. It's not our responsibility. If you feel different, that's fine. If you feel like it's a situation where you should call attention to a dealer mistake, that's good too. But in this case, yeah, just found a a dealer who, man, maybe she was used to playing another game. Again, like 3-card poker where I described where you do leave the cards out there. So anyway.
Yeah. A new dealer, who knows? Maybe Mark totally missed it. Under her breath, she was saying, "What room are you in? What room are you in?"
Yeah. It could be. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
He didn't say. I mean, I'm assuming
he didn't say. It didn't say that any of the other players heard that either. But
yeah, I'm assuming he looks like, Paul Newman.
All right. And then she tried it a second time. And so what Dr. Mike is saying, Mark, is that it wouldn't have happened a third time because she would have given up by then.
Yeah, she
knew
was
that you weren't
another.
Interested. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Next call.
Mark, Dr. Mike, this is Ann, the better half of Kevin and Ann from Wisconsin. We enjoy listening to your show together and have enjoyed bumping into you once in a while at the casino. I have a couple items to share with you that perhaps your female listeners might appreciate. I'm certain I'm the victim of sports wagering discrimination. I really think there's sexism. Until my neighboring state of Iowa got sports betting, I did all my sports betting in Las Vegas. I bet mostly on NASCAR and college basketball, many times on NCAA championship futures. I'll grab a sheet and put money down on who would win the trophy that season. A couple years ago, I finished my research and was ready for the window. I had my sequence numbers written down and would wager on a handful of teams who I expected to go all the way. For some background, my shtick is to take local teams and long shots. One year at Planet Hollywood, I had my list of 8 bets. Started rattling them off, and when I got to UNLV, the guy at the window taking the bets stopped me. He asked what I was doing. At the time, I thought he was just stopping me because I felt so strongly about UNLV, as if he was interested. So I giddily told him they had a new coach from Whitewater, Wisconsin, and he's the current coach now at Iowa State. The guy didn't print my ticket. He said he's got to go get his manager. He got his female manager who came to the window. The manager asked what the problem was. He says, her, nodding his head and ridiculously pointing at me. He didn't like the long odds and thought he was saving me from myself. I was only betting $25 on 8 teams. This was vacation fun, not a prayer for a mortgage payment. I totally knew what I was doing. The female manager just told the guy to print the ticket. She was angry, and I was too. At Mandalay Bay another time, I was betting the same type of way. The male at the window printed my tickets, but told me in a condescending way to not get my tickets wet. So I said, so I'm not supposed to shower with him, and walked away. This past weekend, we went to the Q Casino in Dubuque to make my weekly NASCAR bets. Sometimes we go there because the vig is a little better on the drivers. I went to the kiosk to place my bets and put $10 on Cody Ware to win. He's a long shot, probably plus 3,500 or more, drives a Ford, and the last 9 wins at Michigan International were won by Fords. After I entered my bet at the kiosk, the wheel kept spinning and it said my bet was under review by the trading team. I removed my money from the machine and went to the window. I already circled 4 long shots on the sheet and handed it to the guy at the window with $40 for $10 bets. He said I couldn't make any of the bets because the odds were all greater than plus 300. So I asked for my money back after telling him that was ridiculous. He looked at me like I was stupid. I walked away and made sure he could see me throw my sheet in the trash. On the flip side, Diamond Joe doesn't make me feel stupid, and they know I know the difference between plus money and a waste of time. They even want to know what I bet when I'm not there. Free the queen of the long shot. I demand justice.
All right. Thanks, Ann.
It's a good call, Ann. That's a very good call.
There's still a lot of sexism in gambling in general. I mean, you certainly see it in poker games still, table games, sports betting. I don't know what that one writer, when she was in Las Vegas, say, what are you doing? What?
Yeah. What does he care? That's the thing that pisses me off.
Yeah.
That can only be sexism. I guarantee you, if I went up there and did that, he would be thinking, oh, this guy knows something or, has some insight. He's old and he's there betting these long shots, right? But a young woman, he was like, oh, yeah, no, she must be confused. He just thought, I'm saving this woman from losing her money. She obviously doesn't know what she's doing.
Yeah.
And first of all, why does he care?
Yeah.
It's not his money. And second of all, keep your mouth shut, book the bet.
Yeah. And we still see sexism at craps tables. Sometimes it's, lighthearted, quote unquote. But, you still do see it.
Yeah. I don't get upset when somebody says, oh, lady shooter, lucky lady, stuff like that. That doesn't really bother me.
Well, but sometimes they say lady driver.
Yeah, lady
right?
driver.
Instead of lady.
Right. Yeah,
lady driver.
When they say, be careful, lady driver.
Great.
Yeah, if I was a woman,
what year is this?
Upset of that.
Well, the situation happened to Ann at Dubuque. That's probably a little different. And we hear this from a lot of sports bettors that they just can't get action down, especially on some of these long shots. Come on, it's a $10 bet. If you're going to post the odds, then take a bet like that. Otherwise, don't post any odds.
If you're afraid of losing money on a long shot, don't post it.
Yeah.
Anyway. It is ridiculous.
Yeah. Anyway, Ann, good call. Thank you for calling in.
And when you're in Vegas in November, Ann, let us in on some of those long shots that are going to hit.
Oh, that's right. Kevin and Ann are coming to Zorkfest. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Excellent. Great. We'll see them there. All right. Next call.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Karsten calling from Colorado. It's been a while since I've called and getting caught up on some of the old episodes and noticed that you had spent some time in Blackhawk recently. Love to hear that you had a great time out here and enjoyed the hospitality of the dealers and folks here in town. Thought you guys might be interested in case you weren't aware of the history of Blackhawk from a gambling perspective. Just some interesting items that I thought I'd share. Gambling was legalized here in 1992 and was really just to revive those mining towns. And for many years, all the way from 92 until 2008, the maximum bet was $5. So you could only bet $5 on blackjack. And they didn't actually have other casino games until 2008 when roulette, craps, and other games like it, besides really blackjack, were legalized. So at that point, it was raised to a $100 maximum bet, and that was in effect until just recently, within the last few years, they've eliminated caps on bets. So anyway, I just thought you guys might find that interesting, and just wanted to say thanks again for the great content. Glad to be back and getting caught up on some prior episodes, and hope you guys are doing well. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Karsten. Yeah, we really enjoyed Blackhawk.
Yep, we did enjoy Blackhawk. Karsten didn't say what year they allowed women to start gambling.
Yeah, that was probably in the 90s. I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe early 2000s.
Yeah, early 2000s. Finally, they took sports bets from women.
Gosh, Mike, I was looking at some old newspapers a while back, and there was an article from the early 70s. It made the news that a woman was dealing blackjack at one of the Las Vegas casinos.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, I mean, if you ask somebody, they'd say, "Oh, yeah, that probably happened in, 1905 or something, right? Not 1975."
But yeah, when the limit was $100 there, and that was during a big chunk of us doing the podcast, they only got rid of the limit in 2021. When we had talked about going to Colorado, it's like, okay, yeah, we could probably, $100, that's fine. We're usually betting less than that. But, when we get on hot rolls at the table, suddenly the bets can get way over 100. So we were a little hesitant to go. And once they lifted the cap, then it was like, okay, yeah, we definitely can go. And now we're so glad we went. And I can guarantee we're going to be going again.
I've already just this week talked to one person into going to Blackhawk.
Oh, somebody you work with?
Well, no, one of the children's parents.
Oh, okay. One of the children's
She said, "Oh, you're the gambler guy." I said, "Yeah." No, we started talking, and she was talking about places to go and stuff. And I said, "Hey, Blackhawk, Colorado," because she's a slot player. But I said, these casinos are all lined up. You can go from one to one to one. I mean, walk down the street. It's like downtown Vegas, but clean.
And we have mentioned it several times since we went. This is a gambling destination, right? You're not going there for the food necessarily, shows, anything like that. This is just gambling. I think that's why so many of us in the gambling podcast online community enjoyed it.
Yeah, and I think too, you should mention there are other outdoor activities if you're there.
Oh, yeah.
When the weather's good, or even in winter, you can stay there. There's ski resorts very close.
Right.
So, if you wanted to ski or whatever. But yeah, there's other stuff to do. There's just not the typical Vegas show.
Yeah, it's not Vegas. It's not like going to
fancy
Vegas.
Restaurants. Yeah.
All right, next up is Jason.
Hey, Mike and Dr. Mark. It's Jason again from North Carolina. Come to you guys with another casino trip report. All right, so this past weekend, I was in Tennessee, the volunteer state, for a golf tournament. On the way back, me and my mom, we stopped at the Bristol, and that's going to be a Hard Rock soon, in Bristol, Virginia, right near the state line. And we were very, very pleased to find out that there's actually $10 craps there on Saturday night. So they were very, very welcoming to the new craps players. It was a packed place as usual. But yeah, it's a very nice temporary casino. The new one's going to open up in late December, early January. And also, we had some nice wins where my mom, she won $120 on a $5 free play on a quick hit slot machine. That was very nice. I played craps a little bit. Actually, my stack lasted quite a long time, until I, of course, did the don't pass again like I did last time at Cedars, Virginia. But yeah, it's a great place. Lots of things to do. And yeah, I'll definitely be back once the Hard Rock opens up in a few weeks. And one more thing I'm excited about is the upcoming poker tournament for You Can Bet on That this weekend. So everyone who's watching this podcast, or anyone who has who listens after the event, hope you guys have fun time playing that. I know I will. And watch out for the Carolina Gambler coming for those wins, guys. All right. Hope you guys have a great day. Keep up the good work on that podcast. See ya.
All right. Thanks, Jason. Yeah. So reminder, we are recording this before our online poker tournament. It will post after the tournament. So we will talk about results on our next episode in 2 weeks.
Yeah. And I just want to remind Jason that if he does take me out, when he talks about it later, he's going to have to mention that I was, doing homework at the same time.
Oh, that's right. You already have your
distracted.
excuse.
Yeah, my excuse.
Yeah,
I just want to make sure Jason understands that.
Please, Mike, please go all in on the first hand. That's what I want to.
That's what I should. But I'll sit there and watch the whole tournament anyway.
That's true, yes.
I might as well be playing. I love that he went with his mom.
Oh, yeah. Hey, a lot of our listeners go with their parents, and sometimes, just their mom, just their dad. It's a great outing. I mean, think of how many times you went with your dad.
Oh my God.
Or
so
your
many
mom,
times.
right?
Yeah, my mom too. Sometimes my mom and dad and I would go out. And I mean, when I look back at all that, that's such fun times.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it'd be a little aggravating if my dad was like running into people or something, but it was still fun times. We had a great time.
Yep. All right, last call.
Hello, Dr. Mike and Mark. This is Nathaniel from North Carolina. I called the other week about this San Diego and Las Vegas trip. I was just calling. I have a couple questions. One is about bubble craps. When I went on my trip, especially San Diego, we would go to the casinos, and I always get to go sign up for the card, get the free player food or whatever, play it, and then pretty much lose, and then put a little money in and play a slot machine. But if they had bubble craps, I'd play bubble craps. I would put about 100 in it and just do like pretty much go across and bet it all and try to double up real fast, and then we'd be gone in 30 to 45 minutes to the next casino. So my question is, I know it's too low limits for Dr. Mike, but I've heard Mark talk about it some. I was just wondering if you have played it any lately and any stories about that. I know on our trip out there, I hit the Alta Small in San Diego and once in Vegas on the bubble craps, putting 5 on it, but I wasn't betting it. I'm one of those that bet it and don't bet. I'm back and forth, and I know you're supposed to either bet it or don't bet it. So that ate at me the whole trip because I wasn't betting it all the time, but now I'm putting 5 on every time. I guess I enjoy it because, you can buy the 5 and 9 and dig after, and it's simple, and I'm always changing my bets around and pulling stuff down, and I guess at a real table would be kind of aggravating for the dealer, so that's why I think I enjoy it. But and another little story, if I'm playing down a real craps, if my wife walks up, I see her coming, you can count on a big red coming. I just want to tell the table, I was like, turn your bets off, bet on big red, because it's going to happen. And my other question is for Dr. Mike. I just wondered if you ever thought about having your brother on. I know you said he's been to casinos all over the world. I think that would be really interesting to hear some of his stories and some of his favorite casinos. And I know he likes Harris Cherokee, and I'm just kind of curious what makes him like that one so good and what about that. And I appreciate it, guys, and thanks for the podcast. Have a good one.
All right, thanks, Nathaniel. Mike, we have talked about having your brother on so often. We really need to make that happen.
Yeah, we should make that happen. Yeah, I'll talk to him about that.
Okay, yeah.
That could easily happen.
Yeah.
Especially if we're in San Diego together, all three of us.
Oh, that's true, yeah. We could just do it all in one room. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
But, I know he'd probably have some great stories for us.
Oh, yeah. He's got a lot of a lot of weird things that happen, and a lot of opinions about restaurants.
He does,
yeah.
A lot of strong opinions, yeah. It'd be good to hear from that. Yeah, Nathaniel says his wife is a cooler. Your dad was a cooler.
He seemed to be. Yeah.
If he were playing with us, he'd have good roles and everything.
Fine.
But it was when he would come up to the table, hey, Mike, how's it going?
Check to see how we're doing. Yeah. Well, my wife, Lynn, thinks she's a cooler, too.
Oh, yeah.
I keep telling her that there's no such thing. But it seems like every time she walks up, it's, and sometimes it'll be in a big role and I'll just wave her away, like, don't come up.
Yeah.
But I don't know about that cooler thing.
You know who was a cooler? I don't think I've ever told you this. My ex-roommate, Gary. Remember we worked with Gary at Farrell's?
Gary.
He was a cooler.
Yeah, Gary. I remember that kind of. He was a cooler. Yeah. I don't know the science behind that, Mark. Maybe that's something I should investigate.
Please do. Yeah, you're the science teacher.
Yeah.
Why are some people coolers?
I write a whole, thesis on it, everything. Win the Nobel Peace Prize for
That's
science.
Right. Here's the proof. You've got like 20 instances where it happened. All right.
Yeah. Well, some people are coolers, but it's identifying them that's the problem.
Nathaniel was talking about how he was beating himself up because he would have won some all small tall bets, but he didn't make them. And we had suggested, if you're going to make these side bets, do it all the time or never do it if you don't want to drive yourself crazy. Now, of course, do whatever you want. Some people could probably sometimes do it and it won't eat at them. And of course, my advice is never do it. Dr. Mike's advice is always do it. You're there to gamble, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate switching back and forth.
Yeah.
It leaves you with regrets. It's like, why did I do that? And sometimes you guess right and it works in your favor.
Yeah.
Like the guy who turns his bet off after the dice go off the table and he says, "Oh, see,
What? People
always
do
happens."
that? Oh.
Yeah. And I never turn mine off. And then inevitably somebody will lean over. "Why didn't you turn your bets
Yeah.
off?"
You had the opportunity.
Yeah. I can't tell you why. Shut up.
Yeah, Bubble Craps machines, I still play them every once in a while. It is nice because you can always buy the 5 and 9. You only have to pay the VIG at the end. Now, sometimes the VIG is based on how much you win and not how much you wagered. So that's a little different, but it's still better than a place bet. That's nice. Yeah, Nathaniel was talking about how you can move stuff around, the kind of thing that might drive a real dealer crazy.
Well, when you see Mark at a Bubble Craps machine, that can only mean one thing. That means that we were playing real craps and we were wiped out.
All right, I agree.
I went to get more money for us to play, and Mark is wasting his, last $50 over at the Bubble Craps machine.
Yeah.
And if I can't get more money, then I'm just huffing around the casino, mad at myself while Mark's.
And then, hey, Mike, you want to sit and watch me play Bubble Craps?
Oh, yeah.
And if it's one of those personal Bubble Craps machines, it's nice because you can go at your own pace. You can go fast, you can go slow, you can kind of take a break while you're, having a sip of your cocktail. The only real downside to Bubble Craps, other than, you're missing out on the camaraderie and all that, is usually it's only double odds, 2 times odds is the most that you can put on pass line and come bets, that kind of thing. And we certainly recommend it to people who are just learning the game,
And I think for myself, now you don't see me play that much. I have a few times, but not that much. I only want to play that if it is individual Bubble Craps.
Oh, as opposed to one where like 6 people sitting around a single bubble.
Yeah, only because, then you're timed and it's like, okay, you got to go, you got to roll.
Oh,
and, I'm slow inputting all that stuff in.
Yeah, okay, on the shared bubble. Yeah.
Bubble on the shared one, yeah. So if it's individual, I can take my time and then hit roll when I'm ready.
Yeah. All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode. We want to thank some people for some recurring donations from Josh and from the boys over at Crap Vegas. Thank you very much. We also got a donation from listener Todd. Quarterly thank you donation. Great show. Keep the episodes coming. Well, thank you very much, Todd. Also, a donation from listener Clay. He had sent me an email about an app that helps you keep track of gambling wins and losses. It's called Gambling Tracker Manage Money. I tried it out. It's actually a pretty good app. I keep track, though, of so much more things, like how much I'm tipping, and did I have to pay for drinks, and what was I comp, that kind of thing, that it's easier for me to just use my voice memo recorder on my phone and then when I get home, enter everything into a spreadsheet. But if you're curious, check it out, Gambling Tracker Manage Money. It is free for Android and iPhones.
You should write a program for the way you track things.
Uh-huh.
And then include stuff like, calories burned, steps taken to the table.
That's right.
How annoyed you're going to be, things like that, things that the normal app doesn't have, Mark.
That's
right. And then you market that and become a billionaire.
Yeah. Fluid ounces in the hot chocolate cup that I balanced on my head.
Correct.
Yeah.
Amount of urine held in due to a long roll.
That's right. How do you actually estimate that? Well, the app will help you.
Yeah, the app does it for you. Just insert this probe.
That's right. It's Bluetooth. Also, a donation from listener Phil for your upcoming tournament or Dr. Mike's shoe fund. And of course, we gave it to you, Dr. Mike, for the shoe fund.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks for the many hours of a great podcast. And finally, we got some free entries into some football pools this year. First of all, Dennis and Dr. Mike, you're going to be making the picks there every week. It's selected college and NFL games. And also Daniel, that's a survivor pool. Mike, you will also be picking those. So thank you very much for those free entries.
Yes, thank you very much. And I'll do my best, Mark.
Thank you. Well, you did great last year on that postseason pool. Right?
Yeah,
where you won the whole thing. So try to do it during the regular season. Hey, at the top of our webpage, you'll find a link to our store where you can buy You Can Bet on That merchandise. Also, you can find a list of all the gambling-related shows coming up on American television at youcanbetonThat.com/TV-listings. And we've got a list of gambling-related movies at youcanbetonthat.com/movies. We'd love to hear from you. Call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS.
9512-WAGERS.
Or you can email us at youcanbetonThat@gmail.com. We're also on Twitter at youcanbetonThat and on Facebook at facebook.com/youcanbetonThat. Dr. Mike, you got anything for us here at the end of the show?
Mark?
Yeah?
Perfect timing.
What?
Right when you're saying this, I'm sitting here watching all the Ohio State game.
Yeah.
And we have the over.
Okay.
And there's like 2.5 minutes left in the game. And Akron has the ball. And they've got most of the field to go. And I'm thinking, great, we're going to miss the over. We're 3 points away.
Uh-huh.
Right when you stopped, Akron throws an interception. Ohio State guy gets it, runs it in for the touchdown.
Nice.
So we win the over.
Fantastic. So excellent, Mike. We won one of our bets.
Our best. Yeah. Well, we won a lot of them today.
Yeah, you're doing pretty good on the college football so far.
Yeah, we're ahead for the day. But that's how my days go, Mark, once football season starts.
Yeah.
Saturday is all day with the big printout that you gave me. I love it because it's not just like 6 baseball games.
Yeah.
It's like 40 games on this sheet.
Yeah.
And I have to, watch everything and see where we're at. And then I have to adjudicate my sheet here, which I love doing. That's my favorite thing in the world. Then when NFL starts next week,
Thursday, amazing.
Saturday, I have Thursday night. I have Saturday, Sunday. Then there'll be some games eventually on Fridays. And it's wonderful, Mark. It's absolutely wonderful.
This is one of the best times of the year for the sport.
College football on Saturday is great because there's
really
so
is.
many
It
games,
goes all day long and into the night.
Yeah, it's not like, like if all the NFL played and there were 15 games on a day. No, there's hundreds of games. And thank God for television because, we have so many darn channels now. When we were kids, and there were like 4 channels that you got at your house.
Yeah, you had a choice of maybe 2 games.
Maybe 2 games. Now there's probably 20 games on my TV all the time.
Yeah.
So that remote control takes such a beating.
Does it now? Again, when we were younger, it was hell. The world was hell. And it's another reason.
How did we survive?
I really don't know. Not all of us did, Dr. Mike.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway, I'm in my happy spot today.
All right. Excellent.
I'm afraid I'm going to have to stop and eat dinner, though, here pretty soon.
It might happen.
And that's annoying.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Good night.
One of the betting sites had him pegged as a favourite for the next Nobel Prize in Physics.
You can bet on that?